Hey, Bravo Besties, I'm Jenny.
And I'm Kiani.
This is the podcast where we relive Bravo's drama in order, one iconic franchise at a time.
From Housewives to Vanderpump and more, we are breaking down every moment you love.
No bias, no agenda, just the gossip and commentary you came for.
Get comfortable. Your ultimate Bravo rewatch starts now. Hey, Jenny.
Hey, Kiani.
How are you feeling this week?
This week I am feeling great. This is the week sandwiched between two trips, so it's been nice to be at home and be with my dogs.
The big question is, do you unpack when you have two trips sandwiched, such as this?
Yes, I'm going to have to because they are two very different outfit selections.
I see.
So
I get that.
yes, I do, and I do usually unpack because you use the toiletries. Like, I don't have only travel toiletries that I have to use them at home.
I don't know if it's like a thing with just maturing or something, like maybe my laziness is growing, but I have been diving into buying travel size everything because it
Uh,
really allows me and enables me to not unpack after a trip because I have all my full size products still ready in my own bathroom. So it's
yeah,
enabling my laziness, but it's also really cute. Everything in travel size is
I
adorable.
know I do love a travel size, but they make it so expensive when it's like 3 ounce. I don't understand why a 3 ounce item is so expensive.
No, that's true. I mean, they're stealing money from me, but I let it happen, unfortunately.
You're okay with it. You enable it. Yeah. How was your week?
It's been good. I had some tire issues, but I called my
Didn't you
dad
have
and
tire
had
issues
him
not that long ago? I was just
um,
thinking about this. Remember the mans with the basketball shorts at the tire shop?
yes,
That's what
yes,
reminded me that you've been there recently because of that story.
yes, I had. Yeah, I got new tires, and then my tire pressure was low, so I had to go back today, and I had them check out everything, and they were like, "Yeah, everything's fine, you just need air." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So then I had to get out of the line I was already in to get in a different line, but
Did you
it's fine.
have did it get colder where you're at? Because
No,
sometimes a drastic change in temperature will change the pressure of the tire.
it that does happen to my car frequently, but it didn't get drastically colder or hotter. It's been pretty mild where I'm at, which is nice.
Hmm,
I get to enjoy the best time of year in Arizona, which is the winter.
that's true. You are very
Yeah.
fortunate for your winters. Well, I'm glad you got
Yes,
your
it's
tire
very
issue
nice.
fixed.
Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
very adult of you.
Very adult. But this week we are talking about Real Housewives of Orange County, season 1, episode 5, which has the most random episode name we've ever
Yeah, give
heard.
us the title. Read it off.
Cut Cut the P and the Lem out of problem and you get Rob.
If anyone knows what this means or what its significance is, please tell us because we are racking our brains like, who is Rob? Who is
Who
Lem?
is
What is
Rob?
going on?
Who is this Rob person and why do we need to
Why
cut
are we
so many
emphasizing
letters
him?
out of problem? Was a different word we could have chosen to get to Rob
And are
easier.
we just emphasizing that there are problems? Because there's a better way to title that.
There's so many different things.
So many other options.
So many. But this episode starts honestly in one of my favorite ways, most favorite ways in episode
Sure.
openings, because we get to meet all of the housewives' dogs, which I
Yes,
love. I
I
love
do too.
dogs and I love meeting other dogs. This is the content I love. Absolutely.
Yes. The dogs were great. The dogs really stole the show here. I think some of them aren't the best dog owners, but great dogs. Great dogs.
No. Yeah. Great dogs try hard. Their owners, some of them could definitely use some work. We get to
Mhm.
see, yeah, some funny pieces of how they parent their dogs. But
Yes.
honestly, out of all the dog options we have a
Okay.
good array. Yeah, good variety. They're not all the same type of dog, which is kind of
That's
nice.
true. I didn't realize that until you just said that they're
We
all
got a
different breeds.
Weimaraner, a poodle, some terriers,
Terriers,
pugs.
pug.
Yeah,
I
good
think
assortment.
I think Lori's is a probably an Aussie or something of that nature.
Uh-huh. Yep. And super high energy. So
They're
great.
very cute.
We start off with some dogs and then kicks back to Gina and her family, and they are dealing with an injury that Colton, the youngest son, is having in his hand. He ends up breaking a bone in his hand or his wrist and requires surgery. And we later discover what the actual story behind why his hand is broken. And it's that he was faced with someone who was, I guess, of his age, and they were smoking pot. And Colton didn't like that and said, "I would prefer you didn't do that around me," which led to the kid making fun of him. And then Colton and him got into a fight, which honestly, he's defending his values. And I think that's so precious. And
So precious.
Gina does admit that she's proud that he is sticking to his values.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's actually a really the injury they're talking about is actually kind of a tough injury. It doesn't heal on its own. You do have to get surgery, so it's kind of a big deal because they put a lot of pressure on Colton just like they do Shane to be a Major League Baseball player, and now he has an injury in his hand that he has to get surgery on.
Yeah. And they mention a couple times, I think, that Colton has the most promising talent in the whole family.
Yeah.
Even the dad himself says it. He says, "More than me,
Yep.
Colton has the best talent in baseball."
Yeah. Yeah, and Gina says he's the smart like, he's the best in school, he is the most talented athletically, he seems to have, have a little bit more awareness of how he shows up in the world and, like, how he is as a person, and, yeah, this is kind of a big deal for them, the whole family.
Yeah. I think we've been kind of framing it that Shane has been the golden boy and Kara's referred to Shane as the golden boy, but it's kind of seems like a lot of the pressure is actually on Colton to really carry it through.
I feel like Gina kind of acknowledges it later in the episode when she says that, like, Colton is kind of her golden child, like, he's kind of the best of them because what did she say? That, like, she did too much for Shane, so, like, she's
Mhm.
still doing too much for Shane, and she's let Colton kind of be a little bit more independent, and so he's actually figured things out on his own and
Yeah.
is so much better for it. So she kinda created Shane, and
What is that?
it's my phone reconnecting with the speaker, with the Bluetooth speaker for no apparent reason,
It said,
for
"Buh, buh, buh,
literally no
buh."
reason.
The ghosts are saying hi.
The ghosts of my office say, "What's up?"
Going back to that. Gina specifically says that, yeah, she has done her best work with
That's
Colton.
what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, like, good as a parent to recognize that, like, "Hey, I could have done better in these areas." Because I think that, like, as you grow up into an adult, it's good for your parent to acknowledge, like, "Yeah, I could have done better in this and that area." So she
Totally.
has that foresight for sure. That's good.
Yeah. And again, these editors really love a good contrast because they've got her having like good conversations with Colton, and then they pan over to Shane, and it's Gina and Shane picking his classes for his junior college.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. He needs kind of a little bit more hand-holding on things. As Gina has admitted, she did everything for him.
Yes.
But I get, like, not really understanding I mean, she was so young when she started having kids too,
Mhm.
but she does also admit that she is raising these kids on her own.
Yeah.
So all of the parental responsibilities are on her, and she's just trying to provide them with everything that they need to achieve their goals, which may be heavily influenced by the parents, but, Shane does
Yeah.
have the passion and the goal to be in the MLB, and so she sets him up with, like, some weird biomechanic guy
Yeah.
who doesn't and can't name anyone on the Yankees.
Yeah, that was odd. I mean, if you worked with someone that important, you'd think you'd remember it. I don't know, just a
Yeah.
thought. I mean, that stuff is very interesting. I find all of the, like, mechanisms of movement and how to make your movements more efficient, I find it very interesting. I love the 2005 version with the stick figure. That one I haven't seen before, so that was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't. With your
Mhm.
kinesiology degree, they're just kinda going through it and just trying to support Colton. That's, like, really the big headline of their episode right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit more we dive into with Kara, just a touch, but
Yes.
hilarious to me because Kara loves to bring up having the sex talk with Gina, and Gina is so
Oh my gosh.
uncomfortable with
So
it.
uncomfortable. The look she's giving Carr, like, "Please stop, please stop, please stop."
"Please stop talking about this." And backstory in case we haven't already mentioned it, but Gina did Playboy when she was younger.
Right.
Before she got married, I think. She
Mhm.
was in Playboy, and so Kara also loves to call that out, saying, "Why are you embarrassed about this? Weren't you a playmate?"
I mean, what we know about children and teenagers is, like, they're asking questions. If you just answer the questions, it's probably better than, like, not answering the questions and seeing what happens for them to, like, figure
Yeah,
it out. So
absolutely.
Kara's
Yeah.
clearly curious, like, it doesn't seem like she's really into guys or, like, spending a lot of time with guys, but she's just curious. She just wants to talk about it with her mom.
Yeah. I resonate with Cara a lot because I think that she's taking a similar approach that I kind of maybe was around my brother's friends, where it's just like, "Oh, I just wanna kinda be around because like, I think maybe these boys are cute, and I'm gonna be a show off in front of them too.
Sure,
Like, I'm
sure.
gonna flex, like, my skills."
Yeah, of course.
But hilarious. I love that Gina is, like, pumping the brakes on this sex talk conversation with
I
Cara.
know. And then you have the alternative with, like, Vicky and Brianna's like, "Please stop talking to me about this stuff, I will kill you. Like, please stop
Yes.
talking to me about it."
Yeah, and Brianna's very open as well with the fact that her and her boyfriend Colby are waiting until marriage.
They are so cute. Her and
They're
Colby
very
are just
cute.
so adorable.
Yeah. He just seems like he takes everything in stride with her crazy mother. For instance, Colby and Brianna go on a date on this episode, and they are just kind of casually taking a walk, and then they get to dinner and they're having Italian. And Vicky is nonstop calling Brianna trying to get her home for no
Yeah,
apparent reason. They don't really specify why. So, what does Vicky do, knowing that they're out on a date and knowing where Brianna is? It's not like she didn't know where her daughter's
yeah,
whereabouts were. Vicky decides to show up at the dinner
sure.
and interrupt their date in the most this is an iconic scene for me. You see Colby look back past where the cameras are as Vicky is just coming up behind the cameraman and says, "Hi, sweetheart." Deadpans over and looks at the camera dead in the eye and is just smiling at it. And then it goes back to Brianna, who's
Vicky.
horrified, absolutely
Ugh,
horrified that her mom has just crashed her date because she wouldn't come home early. Or no, she says, "Hi, princess." That's what it
because
was.
she was wanting to go to, like, Newport or something with Colby, and Vicky's like, "No,
Yes.
you need to come home right after, like, I don't want you driving to Newport," which, like, okay, fair, but, like, Orange County and Newport aren't that far. She was like, "I just haven't seen
No.
you for 2 days." It's like, "Vicky."
Whose fault is that? You're over here
Yes.
working 12 hours a day.
So that was a
That was
lot,
something.
Vicky showing up like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, just absolutely dragging her away from dinner with her boyfriend. So, but that also takes us to Don, and he's finally found something to keep himself busy, which is exciting for him. He has a new project. So Vicky and Don purchased a home in Mission Viejo that they're going to be flipping to sell. And that's how Don's keeping himself busy, essentially.
Mission Viejo.
Honestly, probably like an ideal spot to do this house flipping project.
Oh,
It's not too far, great area, great resale value, all the things. But Vicky specifically mentions that this project is meant slash is useful because it keeps Dawn out of her hair. And
yes.
then we pan over to Dawn's perspective, which is that he's keeping Vicky out of this project. She can't butt her nose in and take
That's what he
control like she
thinks
normally does.
anyway.
Yeah.
That's what he thinks.
So hilarious.
You tell
But then
yourself that,
Michael,
Don.
yeah, exactly. Like, come on, Dawn. We all know what's actually
We
happening
know
here.
Vicky, like, what do you mean?
Yeah, she bought you this project so that you wouldn't be in the house anymore. You
Yeah,
had
but
somewhere to go during the day.
she's by no means letting you do it on your own, though. That's funny that you
No.
think that.
Yeah. Can you imagine spending over $700,000 on a project just to get your husband out of the house?
No, no, I can't.
It's not relatable to you?
No, it's not. We do get a lot of Vicky and family this episode. We've got, Dawn with the flipping of the house. We've got Vicky showing up at Brianna's date. And then we get more of Vicky and Brianna. They go to lunch together.
They do.
This was kind of a big some big conversations happen here, and they kinda slide by them pretty quickly, but this is after, there have been a couple other scenes with other families that talk about Father's Day, and so this kinda leads into this conversation that Vicky and Brianna are having at lunch about Brianna's dad and how Vicky thinks that, like, Brianna should reach out to her dad and maybe have a relationship with him.
Yeah. And Brianna does push back on this because it feels uncomfortable. It doesn't feel natural to her. She doesn't
Yeah.
feel like she has a relationship with her actual biological father. And she also expresses that she doesn't really see Don fully as a father role to her, which it's a little weird to me. I don't understand the ins and outs of it, of course, because we weren't actually there. Don has been in their lives since they were young, like
Yes.
probably, let's say, around like 6 years old, pretty young. So he's been a figure in their lives and has been there the entire time. And she's more than half of her life. and she doesn't
Yeah.
see him in that way.
Yeah, that one really struck me too, the mom's husband versus dad.
Mhm.
That was a really interesting thought, and it kinda just shows it really shines a light on, like, the relationship between Vicky and Don, I think.
Mhm.
And we saw that last episode where Vicky's just like, "I don't need your help. I don't need you to do this. I don't need you to do that." Is that how it worked with, like, parenting?
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I've talked about it at least a lot about how I think Vicky wants all the things on her plate and she wants to maybe that's where she gets her value is that she's crucial and important and she everyone is relying on her and she kind of thrives off of that pressure. So I could
Sure.
see her totally doing the same thing in terms of parenting.
Yeah. So Vicky and Brianna talk about the dad, and then Vicky is sharing her opinions on Brianna's relationship with Colby. So Vicky's really doubling down on some big relationship conversations at this lunch. And Vicky doesn't think that Brianna and Colby should continue like they should see other people to make sure that like this is the right decision to kind of stay together long term. Brianna does not
Yes.
like this conversation at all.
No.
She doesn't want to talk about it.
Absolutely not. And Vicky goes as far as drawing a comparison that maybe Brianna is seeking her father figure in this relationship with Colby,
Uh,
which she would likely know best out of anyone because that's her mom, but also kind of crazy to like see her realizing it, as this relationship is happening. Because
yeah,
they've been together, Brianna and Colby, just over a year.
I
So
think so.
yeah. So really not that long, but it sounds like they've had serious conversations about wanting to get married. Brianna has mentioned that they're waiting until they get married and that sort of a thing. So it's definitely probably a hard struggle because she's wanting the best for her kid and for her to have all these experiences so that she can be certain and not have to go through a divorce like Vicky had to do, but also letting them follow their hearts because this might be the right relationship for Brianna. This might be it.
Yeah.
It happens where you meet your high
Yeah.
school sweetheart and you're together forever.
And I also just thought, like, Brianna to me really comes across as just like more her personality and the way she interacts with Vicky is so much more mature than her age. Vicky is just coming after her relationship, coming after this, coming after that, like poking at all of the things that like are kind of important to Brianna. And Brianna has so much restraint in this scene.
Yeah.
Like she's not necessarily really arguing with her mom. She's kind of like, I get it. I don't wanna hear it. Like, I don't wanna talk about me and Colby dating other people. I'm happy with Colby. I want to be with Colby.
Yeah.
And then
Because it
she just
is
kinda moves
hurtful.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would feel very hurt and attacked if my parent was, like, saying these things to me.
I am still very defensive with my parents as a full-blown adult.
Yes,
So, like,
absolutely. It's hard not
Brianna
to do.
yeah, so Brianna just being able to say, like, "Here's exactly where I stand," and then she makes her point, and then if her mom keeps going, she doesn't say anything. I was like, "Wow, the
Yeah,
restraint here is pretty impressive for
yeah.
an 18-year-old."
Very wise beyond her years, for sure.
Totally.
Speaking of being wise, we'll take it to the opposite direction because Michael, he
Yes,
makes some
Michael.
strides here. He makes some strides, he backslides also.
Sure.
So Don's little housing project invites Michael to show up just to kind of
Yep.
see and get a lay of the land and see what the ins and outs of the project are going to be.
Yes.
But obviously he comes, he looks at the house, says, "What a dump," and then immediately leaves. Don is a little bit frustrated that he is not like willing to stay and help in the house and help put in the work, which I'm
Are
like,
we
Don,
surprised
what did
though?
you expect? Michael showed up in flip flops to a construction site. He
I
wasn't
don't
there
know if
with
there's a
any,
time that Michael has worn full shoes.
no, always, the toes are always out.
He's
Absolutely.
always in flip-flops. And then they show him back at the pool, and he says, "If I get a chill, I'll be pissed."
Yeah, if the pool is cold, I will be so upset. What a princess.
Such a diva.
Absolute diva. But he slightly redeems himself towards the end because we get the announcement, the declaration, if you will, that Michael has a job. He is
Go,
working one
Michael.
one whole day a week he's working as a pizza delivery guy.
Oh my gosh, I meant to look this up. So he's delivering pizza, he can't find the place he's looking for. Was this before the days of using your phone to be able to
Yes,
map
it
something?
was. I actually have that written down that I didn't look it up, but just being alive during that time, and I'm pretty sure MapQuest
Sure.
was the main source of directions
Oh,
at this point, which wouldn't
imagine
have
being a
really been
delivery
reasonable.
driver. You're gonna
Exactly.
just print out a MapQuest.
No, or you're gonna pull a Michael and just, like, find a place, which I don't know how people did that. I'm so directionally challenged. I would I would have never survived in that day and age if I fully
Well, and
had to
I
do
can
that.
find, like, a general area, but if you gave me an address and we're like, "Go to that street," I'd be like, "How?
Where?
How am I to get to that street?"
Am I gonna need a compass for this?
Yeah, and then people say, like, "Go west." It's like,
No, I could never.
"West?
I literally can't.
No."
No.
Did you notice that Michael was wearing flip-flops for his pizza delivery job?
Well, obviously. The toes are always out.
Yes. So, we've already had yeah, we have Colton contrasted with Shane, and now we're back to Brianna being contrasted with Michael. Michael's
Mhm.
delivering this pizza. He gets a $4 tip, and he says, "I can get a few beers tonight." For $4?
Where? I need to know where
How are
you're
you gonna do
going.
that? How are you gonna do that?
Unless it's, like, dollar drink night somewhere.
If it is, you better drop the deets to where
Yeah.
that is, because that sounds amazing. In that same well, I wanna say it looked kinda like the same night, but we don't know for sure the way these things are cut, but Lori and Vicky are drinking in the jacuzzi.
Yes, they're having themselves a well-deserved beverage after a long day's work. Vicky,
Yes.
and I quote, says, "Let's go get drunk." Iconic.
Let's go get
Love it.
drunk. I also love
A
their
woman on a
budding
mission.
friendship. Like, I love that
Yes.
they're getting closer and, like, Vicky's now like, "Lori's my best friend." They're so cute.
Mhm. They are really cute, and they're, like, connecting on, things that are going on in their personal lives, and
Yeah.
they do have similarities in a lot of ways, like, Lori shares a lot about her struggles with Josh, and
Yeah.
Vicky opens up about her struggles with Michael, and just
Yeah.
how different her experience is parenting both of them.
Yeah. Because earlier, Lori and Vicky go to dinner with Lorelai, so now Lorelai's interacting with Vicky, and, yeah, they're all talking about the boys, Josh versus Michael, and I love when Vicky says, "Michael drives me nuts all day long. Just all day long.
Yeah,
Michael just bugs
all
me."
day long. Yep. That's great. Really encouraging words.
What's your take on boys being harder to raise than girls?
Well, as a girl, and as the only girl in my family,
Mm, mhm,
I think I was a cakewalk. My parents really didn't have to, like, deal with half of the crap that they had to deal with my brothers,
mhm.
so I would like to agree, yes. But then I have friends that grew up with sisters, and I feel like that experience was really different, and I'm thankful that I didn't grow up with a sister because, there just seems to have been, like, a lot of times of, like, full-on fights breaking out, and I was very protected
Yeah,
being the only girl. I never was in, like, a physical
mhm.
fight because my brothers couldn't really defend themselves against me, which was
Sure,
awesome, and I exploited that.
of course.
So I could see that definitely. I could see that being
Yeah, I
true.
wonder too if it's more about, like, if you had one of each, I could see girls being easier to raise than boys. But
Mhm.
once you get into the realm of, like, I have 2 girls, I would say 2 boys are easier than 2 girls.
Yes, I agree, 100%. I feel like that's
That's my
pretty
take,
accurate.
also as an only daughter.
Yes. Honestly, best case scenario.
Yes, I think all the people that grew up with his sisters were like, "You couldn't your clothes were taken," or, like, this or that was ta nobody was taking my stuff.
Nope, all my stuff was safe.
We always had our own room, like, even if the boys had to bunk up,
Yep.
we got our own room.
Mhm. Yeah. Just basically the
Ideal
queen of the
scenario.
house, the princess of the house.
100%,
Absolutely.
as it should be.
Yeah. Mhm. I
So I
agree.
thought that was interesting, them going to dinner with Lorelai. I don't know, do you remember if Lorelai I know she is in a she's not married, I think she was divorced. Do we know if she has kids?
I believe she does, but we just don't really see them.
Oh,
Because she
okay.
mentions in her last dinner with Lori that she doesn't bring guys around her kids,
That's right, I forgot.
ever. Speaking of the brother-sister dynamic, Josh does finally get released from juvie in this episode, which is really exciting. He was in there, they said, for 2 months, and so they finally
Yeah.
show that he has been released, and he has, like, a really tender moment with his little sister, who
Mhm.
missed him, and we know that she missed him because they were pretty vocal about how close their bond is leading up to this while he was away, but Josh, at this point, gets to share a lot of his, like, insights and share a lot on his experience being in juvie, and again, I think we're seeing, like, the level of maturity is, like, really high here because he just is
Mhm.
really thoughtful and he has a good outlook, I think, on his situation and a good grasp on, like, how appreciative and how much his mom is there for him, and he recognizes, like, where he needs to handle his own business, I would say.
Yeah, it did seem that way. His attitude before and after being in juvie have definitely then we get all the Father's Day. we get Josh and Lori. Obviously, the father, like, is the blurry figure in the distance, but we don't hear about him again as
Mhm.
Josh is out of juvie. So I wonder, did the dad come? Did he check in on Josh? Who knows?
I wonder if he, yeah, was even aware that this was happening. I'm sure he had to have been because I feel like when it comes to legal matters, they
Yeah.
are pretty
Well,
adamant
they
that
show him
both
entering the
parents.
courthouse
Yeah.
in the last episode, but they don't show him in this one.
Yes. Okay, that's right.
So we get that, and then we get a couple different Father's Day activities.
Yes. So Kimberly is probably the most put together when it comes to her Father's Day plans. She has prepped an entire picnic for her husband, Scott,
Yes.
and she is kind of just there. They're hanging out, they're having fun. She's has
Yep.
gifts already prepared for him.
The kids have
And
gifts.
the kids have gifts for dad, and they're just enjoying their day, and it seems pretty peaceful, pretty relaxing altogether.
Mhm.
But then it does a quick little flippity flop over to Joe, who has quite literally thrown her plans together that day.
Yeah,
So,
was it that she booked the massage and stuff that, like, she just realized that it was Father's Day, or
yeah, like, I don't think she had any like, maybe she thought it was the kid's responsibility to plan these things?
I mean, in theory, it is Father's Day, but, like, they're still kids, so I remember growing up, it was like, yes, it was from me and my brother to my mom, but, like, my dad was organizing it, or for
Yes,
Mother's Day and then
absolutely.
vice versa for Father's Day.
Yeah, there's usually a conversation with the kids of like, "Hey, Father's Day's coming up, like, do you have anything
Yeah,
you wanna do for your dad?" And then
yeah.
the other parent makes it happen.
Well, and it shocks me every single time we get the older son, I keep forgetting how much older he is, he's 14.
Yeah, and his little
So she
brother's
could have
6.
easily gone to him and been like, "It's Father's Day, like, what do you wanna do?"
Mhm. Super easily. But she, I guess, does her best, I guess. She takes Slade to go get a massage, she blindfolds him and surprises
Say
him
hi.
with it, and he's very excited about this, so at least she knows what he likes, because he seems to really be
That's true,
enjoying
he
this
seems happy
massage.
about the massage.
And then while Slade is in his massage, Joe scrambles to get to the grocery store to buy all the supplies for a beach picnic as well. So Kimberly had it all prepped and ready to go, probably a
Yep,
day at least in advance, and Joe is buying grocery store salsa.
and has to ask if mild means not spicy.
Uh, I'm a little offended by this because she is Peruvian and I'm Hispanic as well. So come on, girl.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, that was tough. That was tough just for being a person, honestly. Ethnicity aside, just not knowing that.
Just what do you mean?
What do you mean?
What do you mean by mild?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the cuts here, the rough cuts of, like, here's Kimberly with all put together, the son's got a gift, she's got a gift, everyone's got a gift, Joe running around the grocery store, day of.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolute chaos.
Yes.
And it doesn't get less chaotic when we get to see Joe and Slade at home because Slade reveals some things that he's been keeping in the closet, and it's a little worrisome. So
Yeah.
apparently, Slade is a huge fanatic of masks and costumes from movies, which it's worse than you think. Whatever you're thinking, make it worse because that's how bad it is. He is buying like full on like monster masks. He apparently owns 3 different movie-worn Batman suits that are worth almost 10 grand each. He also then
Yeah.
shows us his storage facility full of masks and Halloween decor. It's just so
Is
much.
there what would you call this version of, like, a furry? Where you're in the Batman suit? Like, what would you call that? Is that a thing?
I don't
Because that's
know.
Slade.
I wondered the same thing, like, he's gotta be super into, like, the cosplay, like, Comic Con scene with all this stuff, you would
Yes,
think.
you would think.
You would think.
Yeah.
But it's just the amount of, like, money he's probably poured into this closet full of masks is insane.
Yeah, that's a lot. It was a lot for me, and I mean, we all have our things that we're passionate about, but I wasn't expecting this one from Slade.
No, this is not what I expected at all. And
Yeah,
he explains it in a way that it's a way that him and his sons have bonded, and it's kinda like their thing to do together,
it's kinda
but
cute.
the sentiment behind it is fine, but the actual collection is what
Yeah.
bothers me.
He could have picked anything because 'cause they're kids, so he could have literally done anything.
Yeah, why didn't you go after, like, I don't know, something
Cars,
different?
like
Cars,
model
trains,
cars,
planes,
trains, automobiles,
any
etcetera.
Anything else? Weird costumes aside, he clearly has a thing for costumes. Joe admits on camera that she is not cut out for motherhood, which is kind
Yeah,
of it's a
yeah.
fair, it's honest, I guess, to admit that, but I mean, this is where foresight kinda comes in. Some of the women have it and some of them don't with being as honest as they are being on this reality TV show, knowing that the children will probably see this or
Yeah.
hear about it, and that's
Yeah.
just not really great to hear.
No, and I'm sure and even the older son calls out, like, yeah, she doesn't really have patience with Grayson. Like, she gets really upset with him when he's, like, not cooperating or whatever. Everyone's noticing that
Yeah.
she's uncomfortable around younger children.
Yes, which, to play devil's
It's fine.
advocate, it's fine. Not everyone's cut
Yeah,
out to be a parent or wants that, and sometimes you are
right.
just better in certain phases of a child growing up than others,
Yes.
and it's probably tough for her when she didn't, she met Grayson when he was about 4 or 5 probably. So you're coming in where they're already kind of this toddler aged, and you didn't really get to experience from start to that point, so she didn't
Yeah.
get to ease her way into that. 'Cause it is probably harder having,
Oh, yeah,
you
well, and
know,
it's fair to
that
feel that
age.
way, but then why are you dating/marrying a man where you start as a stepmom? Like, I don't know. I think just, like, okay, if you realize that about yourself, like, maybe don't put yourself in these kids' lives because that's not fair to them now.
Yeah, because 'cause you're fully in the trenches with them. You are living with
Yeah,
them. You are a full-time figure in their lives now.
yeah, and as a step-parent that's not, like, a full step-parent yet, you could decide, like, "I don't want this life,"
Yeah,
and you'd be okay for
absolutely.
doing that.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's probably maybe something that they could have thought about a little bit more before she, like, fully moved in, maybe,
But maybe
perhaps?
she kinda strikes me as someone who 'cause, again, going back to, like, last episode or the episode before where we were talking about how she doesn't cook. We see in this episode she doesn't clean. She isn't cut out to be a mom. Was it that, like, her and Slade talked about it and she kind of romanticized it like, "Oh, I could totally be a housewife. Like, I could totally do this. This sounds great. Like, I'd love to do this to be with Slade." But when it actually came to doing that, she's like, "Oh, it's not really what I was expecting or wanting."
Yeah, and it's fair that in theory, sometimes you think you want things and then you actually get into it and you're like, "Ah, never mind." But I wonder if she's also expressing these concerns to Slade or just to the camera.
And I think kids are one of the exceptions of, like, you can't just have a kid and then be like, "Ooh, never
Never mind.
mind." Like, that's one instance, I'm sorry for everyone, but, like, that's an instance where that's not acceptable anymore unless you're Joe and you're kinda the stepmom, but not. Like, in that case, you should say something if it's not a good fit.
Yeah, if you're already pretty set on that thought, then you definitely need to say something.
Yeah.
But in contrast, we have Jo who's not really feeling like she's cut out for motherhood. And then you have Kimberly on the other side. So we're seeing a lot of parallels
It
between Jo and Kimberly this episode. And so it comes back to Kimberly, and she is really trying to find balance in her life because she's going, we realize, through a lot. So in this episode, Kimberly ends up going to the doctor. She is at the dermatologist because she is concerned about some moles that she has. She has a history with skin cancer. And so they decide in this episode appointment that she goes to that they're going to do a biopsy, and at the
Yep.
very end, she gets the results back, which aren't great. So they do tell her that the mole has come back as malignant, and this is the 5th time she says that she's gotten a malignancy,
Yeah, and did you catch that she goes to the dermatologist every 8 weeks?
which, yeah, that's a lot. She's very hyper vigilant about catching these in time, and it seems
Yeah.
like she's just very prone to them. That might be something else going on that we don't know that's causing this, but yeah, she's had a lot compared to an average case, is how she explains it.
And that was really like, aside from the Father's Day and Kimberly dealing with this biopsy, like, that was really it for Kimberly this episode, and the dog,
Yeah.
of course.
Yes, of course, her dog, so cute. Eats sunglasses, but so cute.
So good. Not the Oakleys.
Yeah, but her, like, big takeaway is that she's, like, trying to find the balance between letting her kids just be kids, but also, like, being mindful about things to a certain extent. Like, she talks about how she might be embarrassing for her daughter, but, like, she forces them to put on sunscreen and wear sunglasses and cover up because, like, she has this history now.
Yeah.
But It's so sad when she talks about how she could potentially not be there one day, and
Mhm.
that's her biggest fear is not being there for her family one day.
Yeah, that gave me the chills. She was so sweet about it. She's like, "I'm not worried about dying, I just want to be there for my family."
Mhm. Yeah. It's really sad, and we've talked a lot about how we haven't seen much from Kimberly, and we still don't see very much as far as, like, time on the screen, but she is starting to make more of an impact with the times that we are seeing her, I would argue.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. And of course, we get left with another scene from Joe and Slade at the end
Mm.
of this episode.
Slade and his little costume fetish, calling it a fetish now.
I think you should.
He makes a bet that he knows he's gonna win because he's an asshole, and him and Joe do a little friendly competition of go-kart racing, and the
Yep,
loser, who's gonna be Joe, has
yes.
to wear a French maid's costume. So, of course, Slade wins as we expect, and then we end with a little ditty scene of of Joe in a French maid's costume just parading around the house.
Yeah.
Would you take that bet, Jenny?
No, no. First of all, you can't clean in that outfit effectively. Like, that is just not a conducive outfit for cleaning, and I'm of course gonna lose go-karting, like, there's no doubt about it. I'm not winning that scenario.
No, I wouldn't
No.
either.
Would you take that bet?
No, I would not. Unless it was, like, in contrast, like, if I win, he has to wear the French maid's costume.
And it's
I'll
something that
play
I
for that.
actually feel like I could win.
Yeah, I'll play
Yeah.
for that. I would also have very much, like, stipulations, like, I need to start, like, ahead of him, maybe a 10-second head start,
Something reasonable, of course, 10
just
seconds,
to
yeah.
just to level the playing field for myself,
Yeah.
honestly. But this just gives Slade yet another opportunity to slam Joe about how she never cleans, never cooks, is basically just a deadbeat housewife.
She doesn't know what pledge is, you know?
Yeah, all the things.
Always ending on Joe and Slade being weird or terrible.
Usually. Yeah, usually. That leads us well into my confessional question for you.
Oh, okay.
So, just giving a little background, Jenny, you are a fan of Batman in general. You like the movies.
Oh,
You
yeah.
like
Well, let me
you
clarify.
said you liked it once and then your mom kept buying you everything in Batman.
Well, let me clarify. It's not Batman, it's Christian Bale as Batman. So
Okay.
let's make sure we understand that as well.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for the clarification.
Yep.
So, if you were Joe, you're in Joe's position, Joe's mindset.
Okay.
How many Batman costume purchases would it take before you walk away?
So I'm Joe as in I'm with Slade, or am I with Christian Bale as Batman?
No, you're with
So
and
the
you're
answer to
Joe
that
though, so
is,
you love him. You do love him
oh, you're
despite
right. I'm not me.
him being
I'm not me.
Slade. You do love him.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say then no more than 3.
Okay.
That's what I would say. Yeah. I
So
think
he's
3
hit his
is,
capacity at this point. If he gets a 4th, you're
yeah.
done.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. 4 is, we don't need 4.
So I think 1 is excessive, but yeah.
Well, one's everyone's got,
You would be okay with the 1 for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, he's a Halloween guy. He wants to dress up as Batman, like, that's reasonable. You have
Okay.
1.
Is it contingent
Yeah.
also on the suit belonging to Christian Bale?
Well, it would definitely have to, I would prefer the Batman of, where he's modeled after Christian Bale, of course, but, like, if you're trying to be the Robert Pattinson version, I might have more questions and maybe the limit is lower.
Okay, that's fair. But the Clooney one, does that one do it for you?
No, I wasn't into it until Christian Bale as Batman, like, to be honest, I
Okay,
don't even think I've watched the other ones.
that's fair.
Yeah,
Alright. Well, good to know.
yeah, Christian Bale. It's all about it's not really about Batman, you know?
Yeah. I'm picking up what you're
It
laying
was
down.
never about Batman. So,
He was a great Batman.
right?
Well, and with that,